First of all, why we haven't evolved to be durably happy, but secondly, importantly, that we can do a lot to radically improve the experience of our lives. And in the book, I describe how. Well, I have three answers for that. First of all, other people. And this is not just me. Research on happiness shows that other people are the biggest ingredients of a happy life. Sharing things with the people you love is what this life is all about. And the same goes for me. Secondly, the small things in life. And this is where training your attention is so radically important. If you don't train your attention, you will be lost in thought for almost half of the time that you are awake. But you can train your attention to seize and enjoy all of these beautiful moments that life consists of. And this is such a crucial practice in order to create a happier life. And then a final answer I would like to give to that question is actually nothing at all, in the sense that I would say you don't need anything to be happy. Happiness, they say in Buddhism, is our default state. If we're not in the grip of negative emotions, of stress and so forth, well, we are perfectly happy. And I had this experience profoundly last year when I went to a darkness retreat. So I spent 5 days in pitch black darkness. And whenever I would start worrying, whenever my mind would create all sorts of stories and fantasies about the future, often, negative scenarios, I would just step out of it and come back to whatever was there. The sounds I could hear, obviously I couldn't see anything. And even though there wasn't any kind of distraction, I was perfectly fine. And you can have that experience too. And I think it's so important to know that we don't need anything to be happy. Everything is decoration. All you need is an open mind, a non-reactive mind. And that mind can be developed. One thing basically, that is that if you don't do anything specific and you let life run its course, that you cannot expect to be much happier in the future than you are right now. Then you are at your happiness set level, except if you're suffering from a depression and you will be cured of that, or if you're living in extreme conditions, and I sincerely hope none of these scenarios apply to you. But if that is not the case, you're stuck at a so-called happiness set point. And if things go well, you float above it, and if things for a little while, and if things take a turn for the worse, you'll dip under it, but you'll gravitate back to that happiness set point. But most importantly, what I would like people to remember is that you can raise that happiness set point. There are targeted practices and insights that can really, really transform the experience of your life. And I wish it to all of the listeners. Well, it has come in stages. When I was 17, 18, I first came into contact with philosophy in high school, and I was immediately triggered. I read a lot of philosophy, and I decided to study philosophy. But then I had, quote unquote, a normal job, and I wasn't quite sure where my life was headed, but I kept returning to this love for philosophy, and that is why eventually I decided to pursue a PhD and make it a career, and I haven't looked back since. But I would say even more recently, 4 or 5 years ago, within philosophy, I stumbled on my true mission, on what I really want to pursue in this life. And that is very much to contribute to the happiness, the well-being, the flourishing of people. And I think this path has now officially started with my book, Why We Aren't Happier, that came out, and with the podcast, which I'm sure we will link to below. So I wish you all the happiness in the world. Thank you so much.